Live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. This is Joy News Prime. I'm Carlos Kalani.
And I am Faustina Safo. Tonight, the Bank of Ghana releases two key statements regarding foreign currency importation and exportation effective September 1, 2025. But the new forex rules aimed at strengthening anti-money laundering are sparking some industry backlash with concerns over impact on the economy. We'll speak to the business community here on Joy News Prime.
And a recent probe into the alleged assault of a nurse at the Reach Hospital has found that the victim did not suffer any fractures or shoulder dislocation. Contrary to initial report, we have some details of the report submitted to the minister today.
Also tonight, NPP flag bearer hope for Kennedy Japan caught support of delegates by presenting himself as the ideal candidate who can create jobs and return the party back to power in the year 2028.
And later, local economy in Sawla Tuna Kalba collapses following bloody land dispute that has left 9 dead and many others injured as government moves in to impose a curfew on the township and its environs. Details soon. Remember, Joy News is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism.
A good time to take a seat and please be our guest. Thanks for choosing us. Tonight, the Bank of Ghana's latest move to tighten foreign exchange regulations has sparked controversy, with some members of the Association of Ghana Industries crying foul over what they perceive as excessive oversight. The central bank's new guidelines require travelers to declare foreign currency exceeding $10,000 upon entry or exit, aiming to bolster the country's anti-money laundering framework. Failure to comply with the requirement means that the Bank of Ghana will be bringing sanctions on your doorstep. Well, it includes possible fines and prosecution in line with the Money Laundering Act. On your screens now is that statement from the Bank of Ghana. It reads that the Bank of Ghana is reminding the public that the following are strictly prohibited under the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723. It says unlicensed, unauthorized dealing in forex activities, pricing, quoting, advertising, issuing receipts, and receiving or marking payments for goods and services in foreign currency, particularly in dollars in Ghana, are strictly prohibited under the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723. It goes on to state that no president of Ghana, unless duly licensed or authorized, residents of Ghana, unless duly licensed or authorized by the Bank of Ghana, shall price, advertise, invoice, receive, or make payment in any foreign currency for goods and/or services, including but not limited to school fees, sale and rental of vehicles, sale and rental of real estate, airline ticket, domestic contracts, retail shopping, online sales, hotel accommodation. And they go on to state that these amended guidelines shall apply to all travelers entering or leaving Ghana. And they're giving you the categories of travelers. Travelers are permitted to carry up to $10,000 without declaration, and amounts above $10,000 must be declared, indicating source and purpose. Now, the third point they raised there is that outbound travelers with more than $15,000 must declare the funds with Foreign Exchange Bureau receipts. And they go on to state that importers must provide proof of foreign currency purchase in support of their transactions.
Now, the AGI members argue that the regulations are overly restrictive and may impede business operations, particularly for legitimate transactions. Now, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman, Chonam Akpelo, says some of the regulations will end up driving businesses away from formal banking channels when transacting in foreign exchange. Now, Chonam Akpelo joins us on the line with more details. Grateful for your time. Shouldn't we be backing the BOG to enhance the country's anti-money laundering measures? Well, we seem not to have him, but let's listen to what he's been saying.
And I'm saying that there are many of all of these regulations, and especially these days, if you go to the bank, you ask that I have let's say, a supplier in China. I would like the bank to transfer money to the supplier. What you typically get is a lot of frustration. Your own money, they say, well, you have to produce this document. You produce all the documents, but they are still asking for more documents. And finally, you even now find out that they actually don't probably even have the forex to transfer, which is a classic case in one of the instances I had to deal with last month. So what I'm saying is that there are a lot of all of these challenges that the business community is facing. Our desire is for the regulator to actually be active in finding out some of these nuances so that they can deal with them, because these challenges are really, really frustrating. We are not against them doing their work by regulating, and we are familiar with some of these standards and cash movements and so on, and we will comply. We are just saying that in all of these, they should ensure that the business community is at heart, because what is the point if you overly regulate and everybody now decide to trade in cash, which is what has been the case.
Well, let's explore this further and bring in the CEO of the bulk oil distributors. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. He's Dr. Patrick Ofori. I just want to get your initial reaction as the business community. How would this affect your operation?
Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. With regards to the regulation, I think we should look at the end goal. What does this do to us? Or present an opportunity for us as a business entity. If these measures will ensure that we will have forex availability within the system, and it will also create the enabling environment for us to conduct our business, that our banks and all the individuals involved or the entities involved who have access to the forex to transfer legitimately to pay for their imports of their raw materials or their finished products, then would entreat all Ghanaians to support that. What is most important is how would the regulator step in strongly to enforce these rules? Because you look at most of these directives, it's something that if you've been involved within the forex market and the banking system, it's something that is normally there. So we will entreat the regulator to really bite with regards to this, and then on the back of that, make the forex available for genuine businesses to be able to conduct their business in the environment that is regulatorily clean, and it also promotes confidence for investors to invest in, knowing that Ghana is a country that you can attract business, but you will not necessarily have difficulty in transferring your proceeds out.
As oil distributors, you deal in foreign currencies most often than not. Have you been facing challenges accessing forex really?
It's been a tough few weeks now, but in the midst of all the challenges that we've had, we cannot also throw the central bank under the bus. We know the recent communique from the IMF with them, and definitely in the last few days have been a bit challenging. And we know with the engagement that we are doing, hopefully by the end of the month, they should be able to meet all our forex requirements. That notwithstanding, as of July alone, we've been supported over $1.8 billion through our bank. And we want to encourage that that collaboration to continue, and to also ensure that we have what it takes to conduct our business. So that is what we are pressing on. And we also be engaging the Ghana Association of Banks to ensure that as we go through one central auction system that the central bank has introduced, we all could put our individual interests aside and see how we help the bank and the ministry to achieve the inflation targets that is set them for the year, which we know the exchange rate is a critical factor in conducting business, especially with the importation of fuel.
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time here on Joy News Prime.
Well, let's now shift our attention to the health sector because a committee set up by the Minister of Health to investigate an alleged assault on Rejoice Chucho Bote, a nurse at Reach Hospital, has found no medical evidence to support claims of a shoulder dislocation. The committee, led by Dr. Lawrence Oforebuedo, presented its report to the Health Minister, Kobina Minta Kando, on August 27, 2025. The committee's investigation revealed no signs of a fracture in Bote's left wrist or a dislocation in her right shoulder joint, contradicting initial claims that the alleged victim reported the injuries a day after the assault on August 18, which may have implications for the investigation. Now, Joy News has intercepted excerpts of the report, which you can see on your screen now, and it reads findings: 1, circumstances of alleged delay in care. No delay in attending to the patient with suspected head injury. All diagnostic imaging equipment, that is X-ray, CT, MRI at GARH were faulty. Patient referred outside, contributed to delays in definitive care. 2, event leading to alleged assault of health professionals. Only verbal altercation confirmed on video. No evidence of physical assault, but nurse Miss Rejoice Bote reported hand injury next day. Treated with pain relief, rest, and psychological support. No fractures or dislocations. 3, state of security. Now, security at ED was grossly inadequate. Only 1 private security per 12-hour shift. Police post exists, but far from ED, usually called during unrest. 4, staffing at ED. Doctors, 1 medical officer per shift, 3 per day. 1 emergency specialist per day. Nurses, 88 staff expected, only 54 at post. 34 vacated without replacement. Severe shortage. In August, 7 medical officers and 7 specialists available permanently at ED. 5, other observations. Nurse allegedly assaulted was recovering. No major injury. ED always overcrowded, near 100% bed occupancy. The Ghana GARH received most trauma and acute referrals in Accra. Patient Mr. Opon treated for basal skull fracture and discharged stable. Ralph St. William submitted a written report. 4 videos, denied any physical assault, claimed frustration was triggered by provocative remarks from a nurse.
Away from that, the local economy in Sawla Tuna Kalba has been severely impacted by a violent land dispute that has left 9 dead and many others injured. The clashes have forced residents to flee their homes, and transport operators are lamenting they are recording low sales due to the unrest. In response to the situation, government has imposed a curfew on Sawla Tuna Kalba district and its environs, effective 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice. The directive also prohibits carrying firearms, ammunition, or any offensive weapon, with offenders facing arrest and prosecution. Additionally, the directive bans 2 or more people from riding on motorbikes at any time and forbids the wearing of war regalia throughout the day. Let's get more on this, and join me now on Zoom is Rebecca Natoma. She is multimedia correspondent in the Savannah region. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. We understand that businesses have been affected by this unrest in the community, especially the transport sector. Tell us more about this. Rebecca, you may have to position rightly. We are getting interruptions to your actual voice. We just wanted to get an understanding of what is happening in the community as we speak. We understand that businesses are actually feeling the pinch of this unrest in the region, especially the transport sector. You've been engaging some of these operators. What have they been telling you? I was trying to reconnect the lines to Rebecca, our correspondent in the Savannah region, just to paint a picture for us as to what is happening on the ground. We are just hearing from government that a curfew has been imposed in the community as a result of the unrest there. Let me bring in security analyst now, Dr. Doke, as we just get his thoughts about what is happening in this region and how we can restore calm. Thank you so much for your time here on Joy News Prime. Now, we're hearing from government that they're imposing a curfew in the town just to ensure that calm is restored. Is that the right direction to take, really, at this point in time?
Thank you very much, and greetings to your viewers. I think curfews are right spot on. It's one of the measures, preventive measures that you can take when you have an armed conflict to, one, separate the two sides from engaging, and two, giving you the opportunity to now conduct a very thorough conflict analysis to identify who the main actors are, the causal factors, and then also situational factors. What are the triggers? What are the proximate factors, the root causes of this particular conflict? It is mostly implemented against immediate and imminent threats such as these. So it's not anything new. We've had curfews imposed in other areas, the Upper East, in Kwanta South, and whatnot. The worrying issue is that it's going to be somewhat something the state is very comfortable with, in that, aside the curfews, how long do we take to initiate mediation or negotiations? And who is the rightful institution or agency to even lead this mediation or negotiations? We're talking about, for example, the Kwanta South issue. Now, what is going to happen in that regard? We've got to know that there's a ban that no ethnic group should perform any kind of rites leading to festival. Aside that gives us an indication that most of the times when we implement the curfews, sustaining the two sides or the actors involved in the conflict is what is challenging. We have so many institutions like the National House of Chiefs, National Peace Council. Can we have some sort of a roadmap where you build capacity for these chiefs in those regions, okay, the Regional House of Chiefs? Then you tax them as negotiators or mediators to now look at all these conflicts that are what have not been resolved for so long. Now, engaging the actors would involve also sometimes the civil society organizations, which is lacking most of the times, because the civil society have been, used in the past in Baku, especially where they've done some works with regards to peace building, facilitating sensitization, and it's been that they have had some successes. Okay. But now we see that we don't really engage the civil society in these areas, which is a worry.
Okay. Doc, stay with me. I'll come back to you for final words. But let me take you now to the Savannah region. I have clear connection now to Rebecca, who's our correspondent there, just gauging the situation for us. You are currently with the regional minister. Rebecca, take us away.
Okay. Currently, as we speak, I'm at the Sawla District Police Headquarters. And we can count about thousands of refugees as we have seen around at the district police headquarters. And security is very tight here. Can see women and children. And Savannah Regional Minister, together with the Gender Minister, they are all here just to speak to the people. And there is curfew imposed in Sawla. So as we speak, nobody can go to any other places that they feel that they want to go to. As far as the security is concerned, they said they want to protect lives and property in the district and the other environs, especially Gbenyiri, Gbenyiri and Kalba areas. So as we speak now, the Savannah Regional Minister is with some of the women around and touring, just to speak to them that peace is the only solution that can give them development. So they are preaching peace to them. Not more officials, Red Cross officials are all here at the Sawla District Police headquarters just to protect these women and to also get them places to sleep. So NADMO have mounted some tents around so that women who are lactating mothers can at least have sleeping place to protect their children from the bad weather. We are in the rainy season, and at any point in time, the rain can distract the people. So we can count over thousands of women and children at the district police headquarters in Sawla District. And as we said, the Savannah Regional Minister, Sally Subiawerebe, is here with me.
Okay.
And, Regional Minister, you're welcome.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, my sister, for having me online.
So you have what's happening in the Sawla District?
We actually came to bring some food supplies to the internally displaced people currently at the Sawla police station. There are several of them. Some are at Tuna, some are at some of the communities, including Kalba. Some are in Bole, around Doli area. Some are around Chache area. But it is these people that will be able to get hold of with some food supplies, courtesy the gender ministry. And we have also spoken to them on the need for us to remain calm and make sure that we are able to overcome this current challenge. We have advised them to respect the terms of the curfew imposed, some of which will require that they get a proper understanding of the curfew conditions and terms. We have explained to them that they need not to have a pinion rider when they are riding a motorbike, either in the daytime or in the night. They are not also to wear traditional amulets or some locally manufactured type of, war jackets that we have. We have also told them that they should not carry any offensive weapon. All these conditions are either in the day or in the nighttime. They are not supposed to do just that. We are hoping that the traditional authorities, the various youth leadership, will speak to all the warring factions to put down their arms and come to a common consensus and dialogue to which we can resolve the issue. This is exactly what we are telling our people.
Thank you, Rebecca, for engaging the regional minister, just giving us a sense of what we should expect. Unfortunately, we'll have to move on from Dr. Doke. Thank you so much for your time here on Joy News Prime. We have to move on to other stories now.
Well, let's move on to some politics because MPP flag bearer hopeful Kennedy Ejapon has told party delegates and members he is the only candidate that can return the party to power in 2028 if he is elected as its presidential candidate. Speaking after submitting his nomination forms at the party's headquarters, the former Asin Central MP said his track record as a successful businessman will guide him to create more jobs for Ghana's unemployed youth. Kenneth, Jesse has more.
Well, it's been a very busy day at the headquarters of the opposition New Patriotic Party, where not just one, but two flag bearer hopefuls have filed their nominations. Well, first was the former MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapon, who filed his nomination, urging delegates to choose him over any other candidate due to his track record as a successful businessman. Well, he pitched the idea to candidates that he's the only one that can help create jobs if he is elected.
Ghanaians are looking for a businessman to create jobs for the youth of this country. We are no more going to listen to rhetorics. We want somebody somebody who can create businesses for the youth of this country. I always say that any human being without a job has no life. Do you want life? Do you want life? Then vote for Kennedy Japan for life.
Next was the MP for Abetifi, Brian the Champon, who also came in enthusiastically urging supporters to vote for him. Now, Brian urged restraints amongst his supporters not to engage in a smear campaign against any opponent. He said as well that he is the one who is best fit to lead the New Patriotic Party into the next elections in 2028.
To prosperity. The NPP has a job to do in government. I shall win power and continue with that job. I shall focus on jobs, food security, and infrastructure. For security, you know that's my turf. Today, having now submitted my form to run as flag bearer of the NPP, it effectively means that I have submitted my declaration for unity, for a disciplined campaign. Thus, my supporters, north to south, east to west, must shy away from comments and commentary that smears individuals and ultimately affects the fortunes of our party.
Well, the party's National Communications Director, Richard Ahiagba, earlier addressed the press. Now, he raised a number of issues, including allegations that the NDC was training thugs disguised as national security operatives in Akwatia to cause mayhem.
The New Patriotic Party has very reliable information and intelligence that the NDC intends to hide behind the guise of national security to terrorize some residents and voters in Akwatia and during the by-election. It is instructive to note that the police administration has indicated their deployment of 5,000 service men for the Akwatia by-election. Despite the IGP's unequivocal assurance that the Ghana Police Service does not need any military support to maintain law and order, the famous Richard Jakba, my namesake, who has been appointed as the Director of Operation at the National Security, has been seen preambulating the Akwatia constituency with soldiers and reportedly threatening some indigents and residents to leave town before the by-election in their own interest.
Well, the filing of nominations does not end today. Tomorrow on Thursday, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and former Education Minister Dr. Yao Seduchum will be here to file their nominations as well to lead the party into the general elections 2028. From the NPP's national headquarters in Accra, my name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
We're taking a quick break here on Joy News Prime. When we return, over 250 stalls and shops at the Swami Post Office Market in the Ashanti region has gone down in flames. We'll give you details after this quick turn.
You're welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us.
To other stories now, a late-night fire has destroyed over 250 stalls and shops at the Swami Post Office Market, leading to the loss of wares worth millions of cedis. It took the fire service over 2 hours to control the spread of the inferno, and they continued to fight pockets of fire during the process. Aside from foodstuff traders and dressmakers that occupy these shops, spare part dealers have used the space as warehouses for their goods. The fire service has commenced investigations to establish the cause of the inferno. Nana Aljima has more in the following report.
One of the victims of the inferno was unable to hold her tears upon noticing the harm caused by the fire. Another had already gone unconscious, realizing all sewing machines and cloth materials had turned into waste. These traders are in distress.
This is where my sister works as a seamstress. Everything is destroyed. All equipment and clothes are gone. She couldn't stand it when she came here, she said. Everything is destroyed. The few that we could salvage were not in the best of conditions. We need help, she says.
The market, which is directly opposite the Swami magazine, have shops which are warehouses for spare parts dealers. Vehicle engines and other parts costing millions of cedis are being cut from the fire-ravaged shops. Owners of these parts say they are of no use.
I
have lost everything to the fire. All goods I brought in last week have been destroyed. I couldn't sell one engine. I have lost more than 150,000 cedis.
Around $200,000.
I had very expensive vehicle engines here. The lease should cost $25,000. I've lost about 50 of them.
Smoke continues to emanate from the pockets of fire within some of the shops. The fire service in the early hours of Wednesday continued to fight the inferno. According to the fire personnel, lack of access roads to the scene and use of gas cylinders, which kept exploding in the firefighting process, delayed the firefighting. ACP2 Peter Tete is Ashanti Regional Fire Commander.
You know, market fires have never been easy due to the load, the different combustible materials that are involved. It was also compounded with a lot of explosions from gas cylinders that are being used in the market. Accessibility, you can see where the fire tender has been packed. So what we did was to lay a lot of hoses before getting inside. That has also been one of the hindrances to it. In all, the sheds, we have 192 sheds that were involved, all raised down. We had 44 shops. Then 19 have been salvaged. Yes. So for now, that is the situation.
For Joy News, Nana Ochima, Kumasi.
Away from fires, cocoa may be Ghana's economic lifeline, but its processing remains one of the most energy-hungry stages of the value chain. Producing a single kilogram of chocolate generates an alarming 13.7 kilograms of CO2 emissions. At the Climate Talks dialogue held today at Fair Afrique, Ghana, experts urge cocoa processors and farmers to embrace energy efficiency and waste-to-energy practices that will not only protect the environment, but also secure Ghana's global competitiveness. There's more in the following report.
Ghana's cocoa sector must go green and fast. This was revealed at the Climate Talks dialogue, where the managing director of Fair Afrique, Michael Mamonham, urged regulators and processors to ditch the culture of fault-finding and embrace collaboration, warning that only shared responsibility can drive real accountability and sustainable waste solution in cocoa processing.
There indeed isn't a clear demonstration of support for compliance, and rather it is a situation of having to find faults. The cost of implementation of these innovative waste management and energy efficiency models must be truly just on the books of the processor. And so you're asking yourself, because at the end of the day, the key objective of every business is also to make. We do not take it lightly when we partner regulators and other support groups like Rebuild, for example, who are providing funds for us to buy cocoa from cooperatives that are inculcating dynamic agroforestry practices.
On her part, Acting Director of the Ghana National Cleaner Production Center, Letitia Abrakom-Yaba, stressed the urgency for processors to research, invest and commercialize waste-to-energy solutions.
Our shells, most of the companies are using them to fire their boilers, their furnaces, but the residue that comes from it is ash. Sorry, I'm going to the waste management thing, but it also provides an opportunity. That ash contains a lot of potassium that can also serve as fertilizer. So there should be research, and then there should be investment, and then let's see how we can commercialize these outputs from our processes for our industry.
The Acting Director General of Monitoring and Evaluation at Cocoa Board outlined Waste to Wealth initiative, including recycling cocoa husk and ponds as practical ways to sustain farmers' livelihood, especially for those whose income are cut short by diseased trees.
However, the pod itself can go through the potash, can be turned into potash, which is also used as animal feed, can also be used as fertilizers, livestock fertilizers, and can also be turned into soap usage, which we consider as a livelihood, additional livelihood for the cocoa farmer.
The future for green cocoa processing is a gradual stage, but today's dialogue makes clear that Ghana must start now through collaboration, innovation and investment to secure both the environment and the competitiveness of its cocoa industry.
Government is phasing out styrofoam packs, popularly called takeaway. The stakeholder engagement, we're told, would be underway, as well as border checks set up to block imports of such products. My colleague Maxwell Aklobotu has more in the following report.
Styrofoam packs, popularly known as takeaways, have long been a common choice for food packaging across the country. But amid growing concerns over their environmental impact, the government is now taking a firm stance against their use. The move follows a directive from the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, who in early June 2025 called for actions to phase out the use of styrofoam in the country. Speaking at the inauguration of the Environmental Protection Agency and the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission's board, the Chief Executive Officer of EPA, Professor Amma Brown-Kluche, told Joy News that the agency is already engaging key stakeholders to facilitate the ban of the use of styrofoams.
We have started engaging stakeholders, the Ghanaian public who use the styrofoams, to start looking for alternatives to the styrofoams. So our next is to issue official letters and do media engagement as well on it. For now, what we are doing is engaging those stakeholders. So our next step is issuing official notices to all Ghanaians on that, and then we see to the ban. We believe that though the President has stated it, we need to engage stakeholders in the disuse of it before we go on the complete ban.
She further noted that inspection offices have been established at various border points as part of efforts to prevent the importation of styrofoams into the country.
We've set up offices at the port of entry into Ghana. So currently we have a physical space at Tema Port, which is the main entry, and then we'll have other spaces at the other port of entry, the landed ports, Aplao, Paga, Elubo, all these areas. We are going to have physical presence there, so that we monitor closely item that comes in.
The EPA says it remains committed to enforcing policies that protect the environment. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Aklobotu, Accra.
Well, the Ghana Publishing Company has raised alarm over what it calls the widespread falsification and use of fake gazette. At a press briefing earlier today, Chief Executive Officer Nana Kwesi Boate stressed that these fake publications are compromising the authenticity of official state records and eroding public trust in governance. Stephen Mensah has more in the following report.
Forging a government gazette is a second-degree felony under Ghana's criminal code, and the Ghana Publishing Company says the crime is on the rise. Chief Executive Officer Nana Kwesi Boate, speaking at a press briefing, warned that the circulation of fake gazettes poses damaging consequences not only for the institution, but also for the wider Ghanaian public. The company says it's determined to root out so-called Goro boys and individuals falsifying the documents in a bid to sanitize the system and ensure quick and effective service delivery.
It is surprising that consistently people treat the Ghana Gazette as any other document. The Ghana Publishing Company is waging war against people who consistently want to either pirate or falsify the Ghana Gazette. We say no to the fake gazettes that circulate. Hear me today. If you intend or attempt to compromise the content of the Ghana Gazette, you are waging war against the Ghana Publishing Company. You are waging war against Ghana. You are doing a disservice to democracy and rule of law.
The Ghana Gazette is the state's official record, publishing laws, statutory notices, court rulings. Without gazetting, many legal processes remain incomplete. The company says it's preparing to play its part in government's 24-hour economy agenda.
Now, you can get a gazette within 24 hours. If you come here today and you need your gazette tomorrow, you can get it because of 24-hour economy.
As part of this effort, the company has launched a new initiative called Gazette 360. The campaign seeks to tighten verification systems for gazettes while modernizing operations to safeguard the authenticity of official documents.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. When we return, Becky will grace your screens with showbiz. Please stay tuned in.
Well, welcome back, and the showbiz time, and Becky Bakes is here.
Hello to you, Carlos. How you doing?
I'm okay.
This evening, let's put the spotlight on theatre in Ghana, and one of the celebrated playwrights, Uncle White, he has opened up about his turbulent journey in theatre, speaking on the Career Trail program aired on Joy News and Joy Learning TV. He recounted early failures and the breakthroughs that established Roverman production as a force in Ghana's stage industry.
Success is sweeter after failure, and that story is true for Ghana's celebrated playwright Uncle White. Uncle began as an actor in secondary school, later writing and directing plays.
My encounter with theatre was as an actor in secondary school. You know, and a mate of mine, seeing my interest in theatre, then said, oh, after secondary school, he said, oh, there is this theatre company in town called J Theatre, you may want to explore. So I went in there as an actor, but within 3 months, found myself inheriting the group.
But his first 2 commercial productions collapsed, costing him money, time, and hope.
The first one, I took a loan from my boss then, and it took me 2 years to pay because the production did not work. And made the second attempt. That on that occasion, I was using a new Skoda Octavia, white. I sold it to finance the production. The car did not come back. It was on the 3rd try that I broke even.
His turning point came in 2008 with Unhappy Wives, Confused Husbands. Both shows sold out at the National Theatre, a feat never seen before in Ghana's stage history.
6 September 2008 was a Saturday. By the Thursday before that Saturday, all tickets for both shows were sold.
17 years on, he attributes his success to patience, discipline, and an uncompromising respect for time.
But I had learned a lot. I think the 3 failures had helped me. I also bound myself to certain principles.
Okay.
I will not start any show late.
And now, Uncle prepares for his next chapter, his new play Voices in My Head, which is scheduled to run from 5th to 14th September at the National Theatre.
We're looking forward to this masterpiece by Jackie. I've listened to it and it's amazing. So, yeah, our musicians are doing a lot. Time is up, right?
Yeah,
our time is up. Yeah. Okay, please log on to myjournalive.com. We're grateful for your time.